Hello and welcome to the Smut Shame podcast, where we really hope that our parents don't listen in. We're going to talk about all things pleasure, smut, erotica, sex, everything that you can think of. Do you have something else to say?
Please expect us to be very nasty in this episode.
Yeah. I am Riddhi and I am a reader, writer and a full-time yapper on Instagram. I'm also very judgmental in real life and I call it reviewing things on Instagram.
I'm Amrita and I'm from That Sassy Thing. So I lead content here, which means I think, write and talk sex all the time. So yeah, let's begin.
Yeah.
So this is our second episode, which means we have another episode where we've yapped for at least 20 minutes. And in the first episode, if you didn't watch it, we've talked a lot about smut, erotica, what is the difference between porn, smut and erotica, and is it something we can take seriously? I think the answer to that is
Yes.
yes. Yeah, I agree. I think smut and erotica is something that's really important and it really focuses on female pleasure, which is something we're all hooray about.
Yeah.
So let's get into this episode. So Riddhi, you were telling me this fun story the other day. Do you want to repeat that to our viewers?
Yeah. So I was coming back from office and I was in metro when there was this girl right in front of me and she's reading a vanilla romance book that I'd already read. And so she was just, I knew from where she was in the novel itself, I knew that this particular page, she's really like into it. And I knew exactly why she's into it. So she was trying really hard to make like a poker face. And I was like, poor thing. And I also specifically saw her like kind of doing this thing that you do with your foot when you're like, trying to control really hard. And
We call that toe curling here.
yeah. And I was like, how are you even controlling that, dude? Because I know exactly what was happening on that page, and that shit, you cannot control that in public. And she was doing all of that with this, like, I was like, how are you maintaining that straight face? But yeah, it's a really funny experience. It's just beautiful to see like people reading smut in public.
You know, that reminds me of this article I was reading the other day about smut, right? And like, I'll just pull up that quote really quick. So this article said, I listened to a BDSM scene on the 277 bus yesterday as time-efficient foreplay during my late commute home to my partner. So someone is reading smut on their way home as a way of saving up on foreplay time.
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting, I feel like. I think that's a really cool concept. So when do you get like looks for reading smut in public? Does that happen?
Yeah. I think not actually. I think that's also something about, I think that's a very Indian experience, I feel, because a lot of people don't really understand that the particular title, they think it's just a romantic novel or something. And the titles are also like that, right?
Yeah.
For example, The Wedding Date.
Yeah.
You would think it's about a wedding. Oh, so nice, woman reading about a wedding. What can society ask for? Only if they know. yeah, because I remember I was particularly reading The Wedding Date, and there was this woman sitting in front of me. She's like, oh, nice, ladki shaadi ke bare mein pad rahi hai, very good. And that scene was like, and then he smashed, and then this and that. So
Yeah, you have done it too. You've read smut in public.
obviously, yeah, I love it. I mean, how else do I make my life interesting? I have to read about like a mafia coming in and like wooing a girl and then them doing something. That's how I make my life interesting, by being delusional. I think that's the key.
Being delusional.
Yeah.
I think like in that way, a lot of other things also, when you just talk about being aroused in public, right?
Yeah.
Like people sext during classes, during work, during like when they're commuting. So people think about sex all the time, and like I know arousal is not something that only comes to you at night or like early in the morning or when you're in a bed, right? So I think it is interesting that as long as it's responsible, people are reading smut, because it's not like you're watching porn in public.
Absolutely. I mean,
There have been a lot of politicians who have been caught reading porn. Yes. In parliament. Especially Indian politicians. I've read about some outside India as well. So I think that raises the question, like, why is it so wrong to read smut in public when you have men watching porn in public, which is so much more explicit and so much more worse?
That also reminds me this particular thing that people do in metro. It is so annoying, dude. It doesn't happen with books. It definitely happens if you're reading something on phone. They're like,
oh my God.
they do this. I'm like, if you now see something, that's your responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're snooping in yourself.
People really text also. Like, I'll be texting someone and then people will be like reading my phone and I'm like, dude, what? Like, do you want...
Yeah. And I've reacted to it. There's this uncle who's, I was like, no, you read it. No, you read it.
What was the reaction like? What did
No, it's like, हमने तो ऐसे ही अपना दिखा. Like, we know what you were doing there.
I've also seen like people, I think I watched a lot of shows with explicit scenes. Now it's not like I'm watching porn, like I'll be watching Game of Thrones, like House of Dragon or something, and that has very explicit sex scenes. And I don't know when it's coming, right? So if I'm watching it in public, I'm always scared. I'm always like this, and I'm trying to hide it really bad. But I think that's really smart you can read. But that makes me wonder, like, does the readership of like ebooks and paperback, does it differ? Because if people want to read smut in public, are they reading it more on their phones or are they reading more paperbacks? Does that matter?
Yeah, I don't really know what research says on this, but I think I definitely prefer a paperback in this sense, because I think specifically, again, very contextual. I think in India, if you're reading it on phone, the chances of people looking into it are much more than you reading a book, because they're not so much interested when you're reading a book. But if it is on your phone, or let's say if it's a Kindle, then definitely. And I have a habit of specifically highlighting the spicy scenes.
Highlighting,
I love, because why not? I mean, you'd reread it, right?
You go back to the text. Yeah, I think like smut is really easy to reread. So it's like you can just go back and keep reading it so many times because you know the story, you're aware of it, you know the characters. It's so easy to go back to particular scenes and like find those spicy things.
In the last episode also, you made me guess some words and made me feel a bit, you put me on a spot. So I'm going to do that with you.
Oh no.
So we're going to play a little game, but I'm going to, I'm going to talk about some smart noises, and you're going to tell me how it sounds in real.
What?
I'm going to share some words with you, which are basically smart noises, and you're going to enact it as creatively and as with as much of an expression that you can.
I really hope my parents are not watching. And some close friends.
I really hope they're watching.
I'm getting made fun of so much.
Yes. Okay, let's go. Okay, so the first one is, are you ready?
No.
Are you ready? Okay, the first one is grunt.
Grunt. I think, okay. Grunt.
How does it feel to taste your own medicine?
I hate it so much right now. Okay. How about... I don't know.
Grunt. I'm a man. I want to take control.
Is that how a man grunts?
I think that's exactly how a man grunts. I want
I imagine
agree. Yeah. Okay. Growl.
Go.
Grrr. Yeah. It's looking like you have some fantasy in your head and you're going to do some nice role play.
See, I don't think anyone is turned on by these noises I'm making.
Oh, please speak for yourself. Some people are, some of us. Okay. Sharp intake of breath.
Oh, that's okay.
It's easy. That's easy. Yeah. It's also like, like
that.
Yeah.
It's like oh
yeah, that moment.
I think this happens a lot naturally.
Yeah.
So when you're watching something really erotic and then you're just like suddenly so turned on, you're just like
whimper.
Like a cat?
I mean you good. It's like softer moaning. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good.
So I want to ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
I think that reading smut, first of all, just reading smut is something very feminist and radical.
Yeah.
But I also think it's very radical that people are reading it in public.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because, again, as I mentioned, a lot of instances of men watching porn or like the readership of magazines like Playboy and things like that, right? Like there was not a lot of content that was specific or that was targeted towards women. So I think reading, do you think that is radical or feminist?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think absolutely. And my reason for it is I like to call it like a small act of rebellion, honestly, because so in these books, right, women are, however, I'm going to put it as it is, right? They're not ashamed of asking for it exactly how they want it, right? They're not ashamed of asking for it. They're not ashamed of doing it. They're not ashamed of flaunting it, right? And you don't get to see that a lot.
In real life.
In real life, also in media. I mean, you don't get to see that a lot, right? But in these books, there is this command that woman takes, you know, and she has some level of control on her desires, and she's expressing her desires, right?
Yeah.
So I think that for me itself speaks volumes about just agency, and me reading that, it makes me feel powerful, you know, on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, I would agree that I think it's almost like a bit feminist to read it.
I think that's how some chick flicks make me feel. At least chick flicks written by women.
Yeah.
You can tell when a rom-com is written by a man and written by a woman.
Yeah.
Because I think with rom-coms written by women, there is, as you said, a lot of personality to the woman.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, there's an inner world almost that you are shown in a movie or in the book or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that inner world of women is usually not talked about, I think, in anywhere else in media.
Yeah.
Because we are reduced to stereotypes, we are reduced to tropes, we are reduced to things like being the foil to the main character. And you have things like the Bechdel test to see if like two women can have a conversation without mentioning a man.
Yeah.
But then when you go into this inner world, I think it's so beautiful because it makes me feel heard and it makes me feel represented.
Yeah.
Talking about reading erotica in public, now since you are the reader of this bunch and I'm not really, I thought I should bring something to this podcast apart from my elite sense of humor and my beautiful face.
Yes.
So I have this, I was going through like, you know, instances of people reading smut in public. And there's this interesting book club, right, in America, in the US. It's called the Perverted Book Club.
Yeah.
It's called the Perverted Book Club. So artists and writers and writers read aloud, or in some cases even perform small instances of erotica, smut, even things like sex toy reviews. People read out sex toy reviews and perform them. So people get together in very unconventional places, like the basement of like a pizzeria. The goal was to make the case that sex could be fun and funny, and that it could be something pondered about in a group setting, something that would be artful.
Yeah.
And I think like what we're trying to do here also is try to bring those conversations into the spotlight and talk about sex and make it a little artful, make it a little funny, and make it a little relatable for people around. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting that they did that.
Yeah.
Where they're talking about sex in public. I don't know if we could do you think we could pull something like that off in India?
I don't think. I think even if it happens, it'll be very secretive.
Yeah.
Like those secret clubs and all of that. But it is, I mean, you know, so I'm not going to name the influencer, but there's this influencer who posts reels about like reading smut in public and her expressions. There's this particular reel that she's posted where she's reading on her Kindle and she's like almost drooling. And then she like, you know, sets herself straight all of a sudden. And that is just so relatable for me. So I'm very glad that these conversations are happening. And this influencer is like really popular also. So it's really cool that these...
It's interesting these conversations.
So also reminds me of that... it's not public reading. I have to mention it because how can I not mention Fleabag?
Yeah. Oh my God, Fleabag.
Two women sitting together not mentioning Fleabag.
Yes, I think there should be like a new form of Bechdel.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's this particular scene in Fleabag where she's watching a video of Obama and jerking off to that video. And it just threw me off, first of all. I laughed so much. And it was so liberating to, you know, see a woman actually just use a random video that you cannot think that someone would use.
I think that's the interesting thing. That like I feel like she almost revealed like a secret that as girls and that we never spoke about, that anything can turn you on.
Absolutely.
Anything can turn you on.
And it's also very subjective.
It is very subjective, but talking about Fleabag, Fleabag was really liberating in a lot of ways. I think she she did reveal a lot of our secrets. Like that one episode where she gets up in the middle of this like silent congregation or whatever, and she's like, if I had I wouldn't be a feminist if I had big
yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
And that makes me wonder, like, how many other things do we women not talk about, right? Like, there's so many things that you need to be like the perfect kind of feminist.
And there is no perfect kind of feminist, right? I think that Fleabag makes it very obvious.
Yeah, it does.
She's very real. And I think that's the first, for me, that was the first series where I saw a woman as she is, you know?
Yeah.
There are certain things that are like ugly, and it's not always hair flying and you're smiling and all of that. It's nasty. It's sweaty boobs and all of that. And I'm so glad that...
And a lot of men asking for anal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think when smut does take you out of reality and it's a great escape mechanism, or it's a great escape tool, which I want to lean into more, I think, now after this episode. We would definitely recommend, like, if you are someone who's really bored of, you know, the daily, the mundane, the 9 to 5, and you want a mafia boss to come and steal you away, and you have those long metro rides to work.
Metro rides, really.
It's the metro rides. It's always the metro. I think buses are hard to read on because there's so much like shaking and moving. But like in a metro, it's so much easier. So we would say grab like a copy of some of the recommendations that we've mentioned in the last episode. And take it away. So thanks for watching, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Instagram.